everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much again for all the love on my last video. As always, I am so blown away by everyone's support, all of the supportive comments, and those of you that even shared the video on your own personal social media. It means so much to me, more than you will ever know. So before we even get started with today's video, I just wanted to say a massive thank you so much for everyone that subscribed. We hit over 100 subscribers, which is just incredible to me. I'm just so excited to see where this channel goes as we build a community of people who love true crime and love to dig deep into the weird and unknown. As you can see, I've got kind of like a fall vibe going on right now, and so you know, it does not feel like fall. It is like 100 bajillion degrees outside, but I really wanted to get like the fall vibes going to try to bring some fallness, try to like be the omen. Bring fall, please. I'm so sick of summer. And I'm very spoiled. I'm a very spoiled American who has central heating and cooling. I'm not like, I know a lot of people in the UK and Europe do not have central air, so I mean, I can't really complain that much. But it is super hot. I would like had to change twice today because I'm like so sweaty. That's probably a little too much information actually. So even though I am dressed for fall, I've got my huge cup of water to try to stay cool. So in our last video, we talked about the Amber Alert system. If you have not watched that video, I'm gonna leave a link. I think it's in this corner of the video. So definitely give that one a watch. We talked about the exploitation and missing children, the Amber Alert system, and the story behind that. And at the very end of that video, I talked about how 800,000 children go missing in the United States alone every single year. That's about 2,000 kids a day. It would be literally impossible for me to cover every single one of those kids that went missing, and a lot of them fall through the cracks and get literally no media coverage. The story that we're going to talk about today was actually sent to me by a viewer. So thank you so much, Mackenzie, for sending in this story. I'm very excited to cover it, and that is the story of Tina Faye Kemp. So before Amber Alerts, publicity for missing kids was basically limited to, you know, like radio, newspaper clippings. If you were lucky, you might be able to get on TV or the news reporting about that kind of thing. But for the most part, you know, you've got like the classic milk carton kids and stuff like that. You gotta come in or you gotta go lay down. You wanna come in? Sorry, my dogs are nuts. So many children who went missing during this time prior to the Amber Alert went completely unreported to the public with a lack of publicity, and therefore their trail went mostly cold. Tina Faye Kemp, who went missing on February 3rd of 1979, is one of those children. I have not seen any other person cover her on YouTube. There may be some videos out there if you look. I was barely able to find any information on her case when I was doing research. It was very difficult. I will leave as much links as I can, as always, in the description down below so you can do your own research. But it was astonishing to me how little evidence and little information there was to go off of in her case, and you would think by now the police would have something, but really there's no leads at all. Tina was 14 years old and living in Felton, Delaware with her family at the time of her disappearance. Felton was a quiet farm town of little over 500 residents at the time, and I grew up in a small farm town exactly like this. Basically, there's more cows than people. She was 5'1" and weighed about 100 pounds, had medium-length brown hair, and bright blue eyes. Tina was an animal lover who loved to go out to the racetracks and see all the horses. She was a gentle kid, and she had run away a couple times, but she always came back home. She had a boyfriend in town who she was head over heels in love with, and overall, Tina lived a normal, happy life. It was a chilly Saturday morning in February, and Tina went outside to help her family hang their laundry on the line. Tina and her family knew there was going to be a snowstorm the very next day, so they knew they needed to get all of their laundry done, dried, and brought back inside before, you know, all the ice and storm and, you know, icy mix hit. Her family said she acted completely normally, nothing really out of the ordinary. About 9 a.m. that day, she said goodbye to her parents and walked out of the house wearing a white sweater, red flannel, blue jeans, red sneakers, a gold bracelet, and a leather strap with the name Eric on it. She was never seen or heard from again. Now, like I said, Tina had run away a couple times in the past, but she always came home, or at least called her boyfriend, but her boyfriend didn't hear anything from her, which even her family thought was super strange. I mean, think about it. You're a 14-year-old girl and you're running away. Who's the first person you're gonna call? Obviously your boyfriend. And again, there's supposed to be this massive snowstorm in the area the next day, and she only left wearing a sweater and a flannel, which is obviously not enough for a snowstorm in February. She knew there was going to be a snowstorm the next day, so think about it. If you're a 14-year-old girl and you're gonna run away, even if you're gonna run away to the racetracks to watch the horses and come right back, if you thought there was even a chance that you could get caught up in a snowstorm, you're old enough to know to take a coat. She was dressed warmly enough for the day, but not warmly enough for an actual snowstorm, so to me, the idea of her just running away seems extremely unlikely. So somewhere between the 10-minute walk from her house to downtown Felton, something happened. The police just assumed that she was a runaway and basically never followed up on any leads. The media gave her little to no attention, and her family still has no answers as to what happened to Tina. Now, there are a couple cases that have been speculated to be connected to Tina's case. These cases happened within a 3-hour radius of Felton and happened off of the same State Route 13 where Tina went missing. They also match the time frame of this kidnapping, and they have the same type of MO I noticed, like same look of a girl. 17-year-old Catherine Quackenbush was on vacation with her brother in Delmar, Maryland to visit their father when she disappeared while walking along State Route 13, which was the same route, mind you, that Tina Faye Kemp went missing, walking alongside the road of. 24-year-old Catherine Anderson also went missing along the same route. Her car was found abandoned in a parking lot, and her van actually had many more miles on it than it should have for the distance that she was supposed to drive to and from work. She just never showed up to work, and it was the exact same state route that Tina Faye Kemp went missing on. All 3 of these girls are young, pretty, short hair, brown hair girls. They're all along the same route, and another thing that I've noticed about all these cases is they were supposed to be going somewhere. It was kind of a disrupt in their routine, and they just never show up where they're supposed to be. There are several other women that lived within that 3-hour radius that went missing during that time. 18-year-old Nancy Jason, who disappeared and was known to hitchhike, 16-year-old Karen Zandrowski, who was last seen leaving a bowling alley, and 14-year-old Margaret Fox, who was last seen getting off a bus, all along State Route 13. Like I said, both in the cases of the first 2 women who fit the exact MO and time frame as Tina, and even the other women who aren't exactly perfect matches, there is one string that ties them all together, and that's that they didn't show up where they were supposed to be, and something in their day, whether it's they were on vacation, or they were responding to an ad, or they were supposed to be at a bowling alley, or whatever, something about their day was slightly wrong. Like they took off and didn't tell anybody, or somebody didn't show up on time. It wasn't like a stalker who watches someone's daily routine and then, kidnaps them while they're on a run or goes into their house. It was like something happened, a series of unfortunate events that led them to the wrong place in the wrong time. I actually feel like we talk about that a lot on my channel, just about how a lot of these things are just a series of events that unwind, and a lot of it's just about, random events that lead someone to someone else, and eventually you kind of just fall into the lap of fate, if you will. So whoever killed these women, whether it was the same killer or different killers, obviously was traveling along State Route 13 and was extremely mobile. So obviously they were looking for victims along this busy route, would pick them up, and I believe probably take them out to a secluded area and kill them. The one thing that I'm questioning about this is, how did he know where to be looking for people, and where would he know to take them? I feel like when you're a killer who works in a fixed area, you have, safe places you can go to. If you're traveling in a 3-hour radius, that means that you have to have several places that I can get away with this, no one's gonna even see me. There are also theories surrounding a possible connection to Henry Lee Lucas, who is a serial killer suspected to be in that area at that time. We'll talk about Henry Lee Lucas another time because that's a whole other thing. So it seems to me that there are only 3 options in this case. The first one that I think is probably the most likely is that she was killed by an opportunistic serial killer. So someone could have easily been driving along the road, seen any of these women, offered them a ride into town, and then taken them from there. The only problem with this theory is, how would you know that they're going to be victims? This isn't like the I-70 killer that we talked about, where he went into a store where he knew if it's open, there are going to be people in there. How would he know, like, today's the day I'm going to be driving and randomly there's going to be a woman walking along the side of the road? Was he just a truck driver, maybe? Someone who was always on the road? I mean, what other excuse would you have to be walking or driving along the side of the road, with that far of a radius? So I'm thinking someone like a truck driver or a delivery driver or a businessman that spends a lot of time on the road traveling. The second option, which I think is less likely, is that she was killed by someone that she knew. A lot of the times in missing persons cases or kidnapping cases, it's often someone that the person knows. However, in this instance, with such a small town, and I'm from a small town so I can attest to this, people talk, and I think that if anyone was suspicious of a specific person in town, we would have heard the rumors by now, and there's nothing like that I've found. Now, the third option, which I think is also unlikely, but we still have to mention it, is that she succumbed to the elements. So as I said before, there was a big snowstorm in the area the following day. She could have run away again to the racing tracks as she had done before and lost track of time, I guess, slept at the racetrack, even though she knew there was going to be a snowstorm next day, and then on her way back got caught in the storm and died. I find it very unlikely. They searched the area and did not find any sign of her, so I highly doubt that she was anywhere near that racetrack ever. I don't think she made it 5 minutes away. So I think that the most reasonable explanation is that someone picked her up, whether they kidnapped her and sold her into human trafficking, or they took her somewhere else, or if they just snatched her up, took her somewhere secluded and killed her. I'm really not sure, but I do not think, unfortunately, that she is with us today, though I hope I'm wrong. I hope that she is out somewhere living a happy life and just disappeared one day, and that she's alive and well and healthy and safe somewhere. But at this point, it being, 30, 40 years ago, I highly doubt that is the case. It's such a strange case. Like, 1 minute she's just doing her chores, and the next minute she vanishes, and no one has any clue, no one saw anything, they have no idea who took her. It's a lot like the Amber case that we covered last week. It's like 1 minute you're there, and then the next minute you're just gone, and, no one has been able to confirm, any details, and it's just like you're gone without a trace. Everything is normal 1 minute, and then the next minute, you're just gone. An opportunistic killer just comes along, and you're never seen or heard from again. It's really crazy. I think a lot of the time in a small town especially, people feel really safe and like nothing bad is going to happen to them or the people that they know. But I can attest from firsthand experience that that is not always true. I think in small towns like this, you find a lot of comfort in knowing everyone, everybody's business. But, bad things happen to good people, and they happen in, places you do not expect. It just makes you think, like, was this somebody that she knew? Was someone watching her just driving along? Or was this someone who was just driving down State Route 13 and just happened to see her and happened to pick her up? It's just so crazy. If someone did pick her up, and they drove through town the direction that she was headed, someone surely would have seen her. I mean, this was a Saturday. People must have been out and about. Personally, I do not think that they ever left the area. I think that whoever took Tina, unfortunately probably killed her and left her very close to home. It really is a tragic case because even all this time later, no one has any idea where she could be. The police don't really seem to be taking it seriously. They've kind of just put it as a cold case, and they have put her information up. I will put up her flyer right now. If you have any information that you think could be helpful at all in this case, if you know somebody who saw something, if you think maybe you have a tip to give to the police, the Delaware State Police are taking tips still. There is a phone number on the screen right now. I will also leave it in the description box down below. And that's all that I have for this one, which is crazy. There's literally nothing. It's exactly like the Amber case. There is like nothing to go off of, and I don't even know where the police would start with this. At the very least, in the Amber Hagerman story, you have a body. You have some physical evidence from that. In Tina's case, they have never been able to match her to a Jane Doe. They have never been able to find her remains. So she very well could be alive. I don't know how I would be able to hold out hope, 40, 50 years later, that she could be alive. But if you recognize this woman, if you know of somebody who might know something, please say something to the police. I really hope that they can find a break in this case and get some justice for Tina's family, who have just been heartbroken ever since she disappeared. So what do you think happened to Tina Faye Kemp? Please leave your theories, ideas down in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you guys think of this case. Do you think that Henry Lee Lucas had anything to do with it? Should I do a video on him? He has kind of got like a crazy history. He was a killer, and there's a whole lot to his confessions and stuff that I think would be very interesting to cover. A lot of people speculate that he could be connected to this case and a lot of others, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on it down below. If there is another case that you guys want me to cover that you haven't seen covered, or even if you have and you just want to hear my opinion on it, please leave a comment down below, or you can DM me on any of my social media links that are also in the description. I did this video with my hearing aids in. I'm hard of hearing if you don't know, and it's super weird. I usually don't record my videos with my hearing aids in, and I can hear my voice, so if I sound different, that's why. I'm trying to improve my diction so that I don't stumble through my words. I don't know if it worked or not. Anyways, I hope you guys are having a great day. Have a great week, and stay safe. Bye!